Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me on my update. Um, Today marks 177 days cancer free. And last week, I stuck with my step goal, took 75,141 steps, and ate more than 25 pounds worth of nutrition from fruits and vegetables. Actually, probably a lot more than that because that's like just the juicing, and then obviously I eat a lot on top of that. But overall, grateful for that another day and sticking with it. What I'm grateful for this week is honestly the impact of my diet changes that I have had. So I have had, I've done, diets on and off for the past 10 plus years. I've never been like really, really overweight. I think the most overweight I was close to 200 pounds. That was like 10 years ago. And that's when I kind of started like sort of dieting on and off. But overall, during that time, obviously my health got bad enough that I ended up with cancer. But I got a couple other things as well. So I know in the past my blood work would show that I had likely fatty liver disease, or at least indicators of it. And I got pretty bad GERD, which, if you don't know what that is it's just like really bad acid reflux. And actually, a big part of the reason why, honestly, I caught the cancer was because I've had digestive issues and I've had acid reflux. When I had bloody stool and I went to a gastro doctor, they told me it was hemorrhoids. They're like, it's not cancer. You're fine. But if you really want to, we can do a colonoscopy. And obviously I had all the stuff going on with Luke and everything. But because I've had these issues for so long, I was like, let's just go ahead and do it. Because one, my insurance was completely tapped out that year. And so it was free. But two, I've always wondered like, hey, what's going on? So they did an endoscopy and colonoscopy. It was mostly because my GERD is so bad. Basically what had happened, I don't know, I've had it for years, but around 3 years ago, probably, it got so bad that it was like every night I was like burping up nastiness. I was feeling bad, and I was needing to take like antacids like every day. And so that's when I kind of realized it was GERD. And before then, I was just like, what's going on? I just, whatever, take something. And I would take Zyrtec, which incidentally got pulled from the shelves because it causes cancer. Then I got really kind of iffy on basically because of that story, I didn't really want to use the antacid drugs because I'm like, well, one, this one was totally fine. It got pulled from the shelves after I had used it because it worked really well, because it causes cancer. And so when I finally diagnosed myself with GERD, which was, to be fair, it was a self-diagnosis, but I had all the symptoms. I went and looked up like, what can you do to prevent it or get it better? And a couple things you can do is stop eating after 7 or whatever. Have some time between going to bed and eating. Sleeping on your right side or left side, and walking. Getting a decent amount of exercise and getting exercise in. And I started all those, but I wasn't. I still ate bad, right? And another thing I did is I found this pillow online where it was raised, because the other thing is if you sleep raised, that helps. And I'm a side sleeper, so it was raised and had a spot for my arm, so I could lay on it. So I did all those things, and that got it pretty much under control without me having to be taking antacids and stuff all the time. Um, but I remember, I mean, when I was at St. Jude going to spend time in Luke's room, I'd be lugging this giant pillow. I mean, it's like this big wedge pillow just because like I needed it. Otherwise, I would feel horrible. So that was, one of the main chronic illnesses that I was aware of. Since I've been doing this diet, I was still sleeping on my pillow, sleeping on my side, like all the things. Which like it literally was like I couldn't even on the pillow. I couldn't sleep on my right side. Like if I sleep on the right side, I'd start to feel bad. Like it was that bad. That's all gone. So I don't have GERD at all anymore. Like I don't have any acid reflux ever. I think maybe I had a little bit when I was on my fast, but otherwise I've had zero. I stopped using the pillow like a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, when I went to my trip to Seattle, I didn't have it. And I'm like, we'll see how it goes. And I was fine the whole time. I'm like, well, it's kind of nice sleeping like a normal person. And so I was still sleeping on the pillow here at home. But then, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'm just like, you know what? We're going to just try not using it. And I just don't need it. I can sleep on either side now. It doesn't matter. It's kind of crazy. Basically, that and generally I feel really good. Like, so yeah, that is what I'm grateful for. And it's cool to have some tangible evidence that the things I'm doing have real benefits to my, the way I'm living. So yeah, anyway, that's the story there. So for this week's core topic, I've mentioned a few times a broth that I've been drinking. And I wanted to give a little background about it, as well as show you guys what it is for anyone who might want to do it. So just so everyone knows, my MO is consistency and easy. It is not about complicated and hard and exciting. It's boring, consistency, easy with a lot of benefits. So one of the things that from this diet I've been doing that I wanted to incorporate was garlic every single day. And I started by putting it in my juice. The problem is if you juice garlic, yeah, that works, but it makes the whole thing of juice disgusting, which then I don't want to drink the juice. And I miss out on all the other benefits of the other stuff, all because of one little clove of garlic. So I did that for a little bit at the very beginning, but I eventually stopped, and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna pull the garlic out. But I still want to get garlic. So then I was like trying to put garlic on my vegetables every night or whatever, and it didn't always work. And it was extra. I would like saute it, and then Samantha didn't like this, this constant smell of garlic always. So I was like, I need to find a way to take garlic every day that doesn't have big impacts, right? And I also wanted to take oregano. And I did a video a little while ago about our garlic and the benefits of it. I'll do a video in the future about like the benefits of some of the ingredients. But for now, we can just assume, at least I believe, that there's significant benefits to having these spices in your body. So I wanted to get garlic and oregano in every day because I wasn't getting it in through some of the other means. I tried putting them in the shake. It made the shake taste like oregano. Like it didn't work. Because once again, I don't want it to be disgusting. Right? It can be like not amazing, but if it's gross, then like it's not something I want to do every day. So I started putting garlic, oregano, and apple cider vinegar, because that's another thing I wanted to get in just like a little cup, and putting some water in it and knocking it back. And that was gross. I would kind of throw up every single time. But it was like a 30-second moment of the day, and I could just get over it. And so I was doing that every day. And I think I talked about that, and my sister mentioned, hey, maybe try freezing the garlic and all these things. But it wasn't good. I was getting it in, but it wasn't good. Well, then when I did my fast, part of coming off my fast, I went and got some bone broth because I wanted something a little bit heavier, like a little bit more nutrition than just broth. And because I was coming off the fast. So anyway, I got that and I just sipped it for like, for the first day or whatever. And I was like, this is actually pretty good. Like it's not gross. Like this is good. And there's a lot of benefits to bone broth as well. One of was on this plant-based diet that I'm on, getting protein in is hard. Because plants, unless you eat just an insane amount of plants, it's hard to get, and even then, it's hard to get a significant amount of protein. And the way to do it is eat a ton of beans, and maybe I'll do a video later about protein with plants, but it's not very easy. So I had been doing a plant-based protein shake. Well, recently I found out about a big study done on all the protein shakes, and the organic plant-based protein shakes in particular often had high heavy metal content. And I mean, it might be from a percentage of like basically nothing to a little bit, but whatever, like it's still there. So I was I stopped because I'm like, you know what? Processed is not my MO. And I was doing a processed protein shake every day. I'm like, it's just not worth the risk. And so I stopped, but then I wasn't having a good option for protein. This is past 90 days where I was like, okay, I maybe be willing to do a little bit more animal products. And so bone broth is a good way to get some protein. Not a ton, but like 9 grams of protein. So it adds up when you're not getting a lot of protein anyway. Like I don't, have a pound of chicken every day and hit my goal and murder it, right? It's like I'm getting, so broccoli has a little protein, bone broth has, and like I add it all up and it's like 50 grams in the day or whatever. But it's an added benefit. Anyway, and it tastes good. So in comes this concept of, well, if I just had a little bone broth in the morning, I could maybe throw some spices in it. So I could put my garlic and my oregano in it, and it probably would maybe even make the bone broth taste better. So I tried that. I'm like, oh, this tastes great. And then I was like, oh, what are the other spices that I want to get in that I don't normally get in? Because they're great spices, but I don't always fit them in. And one of them is cayenne pepper. So cayenne pepper is really good for you. But I just wasn't going to fit it in on all the food I was eating. And so it was a nice little add a little spice. I played with the dosage to get to something that, at least for me, wasn't gross. I actually think it's fairly good. It's still, it's not amazing, right? Like you're still doing it to get the spices in, but you're not like throwing up when you eat it. But anyway, as I added a variety of things, and I'll probably add a thing or two before I'm done, because as I come up with new spices that I want to get in, I'm like, oh, well, this might be something to add. I have like a little broth thing that I do every day. And the cool thing is every single one of these spices helps with either cancer, diabetes, or heart disease. So for now, I'm calling it a daily longevity broth because ultimately it is going to make you healthy by getting these good plants in your body. And it's not gross. It's good. I think it's good. If anyone wanted to do a broth, what I would say is don't follow my recipe perfectly. Make it what you want. But it's a great idea to get some of these things in every single day. Or even maybe say, hey, I only do it once a week or twice a week or whatever. Like, it's a lot better than not doing it at all. So anyway, with all that to say, like I said, I'll probably go deep dives on some of these plants in the future. But here is my bone broth. Enjoy. It's broth time. All right, here we got some cilantro, which is great for inflammation as well as a lot of other things. I like it fresh because, well, it just tastes better. Then I do basil. Look it up. It's actually full of wonderful things to make you live forever. But it also has some good flavor. So I started doing this dry, but I decided that the fresh is a little bit better. So I get it at Sprouts and just get the organic fresh basil. So I just do 1 tablespoon of fresh cilantro and then basil. I do a little bit of salt. So it's about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of oregano. I do some cayenne pepper. So I do 1/8 of a teaspoon. So you need a small measuring for that. And then 1/8 a teaspoon for pepper. The reason for the pepper is it tastes good, but it also pairs well with turmeric, which I do 1/2 teaspoon. And then the star of the show, garlic. Kind of the whole reason for the broth is the ability to eat garlic every day. I still eat it in a lot of other ways, but this way, no matter what, I get at least a clove. And you could do more than a clove a day. You might start smelling like garlic. So that's the downside, but it's a good way to get it. I add some lemon juice. This is mostly for flavor because I get lemon juice in a lot of other ways, but lemon juice is incredibly good for you. And then the base, I use the organic chicken bone broth that you can get at Costco just because it's the most reasonably priced. And it's not, like a beef-based broth. So I do about a cup of it. We do our delicious broth. Now, you can do other broths, really any base. The advantage of the bone broth is it also gives me protein, which is a benefit. So we got our delicious garlic. And we do our lemon juice, turmeric. The dosing isn't perfect. Tweak it, take something out if you don't like it, put something in if you do. Cayenne pepper gives a little spice, makes it a little yummy. And pepper, but if you hate spicy, then don't do it. I'd probably keep the black pepper because it actually helps with the turmeric working. That was the salt and our oregano. And then we have our fresh spices. So there's the basil and our cilantro. Mix it all up. Now you could steep it in other ways. I microwave it because it's fast. Especially if you speed it up. But I do about 2.5 minutes in the microwave. And it is piping hot. You just stir that sucker up. And I like to use a spoon to kind of sip it slowly throughout the day. But yeah, it's kind of like a soup broth, kind of a little bit, but it's delicious. All right. So that was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And I will have the recipe in the description for those of you who didn't follow it specifically. It's okay. And like I said, make it your own. Put the spices in that you want. If you hear of a spice that's really good for you or something that you just like it doesn't even have to be good for you. Like I added some salt. It's not necessarily good for you, but it makes it pop. Let's not be stupid about these things. All right. So for this week's hot take, or controversial hot take, I'll give you a little background. I was talking to Samantha this week about mammals and the discussion of whales came up as being a mammal. And we all know that whales are mammals and they're not fish. And we just kind of just take that for granted as, oh yeah, we've got some mammals in the ocean. And it got me thinking a video that I'd heard where they were talking about how whales in particular can only hold their breath for like 15 minutes, typically. I think I did a little research afterwards, and the average whales can hold their breath between 15 and 60 minutes. And I think a lot of the times they don't even hold it that long, right? But that's like how long they can. With like the Culver-beaked whale being able to hold their breath 222 minutes. So in the scale of things, that is not long at all, right? And it's a crazy thought that these whales, that the largest creatures in the world, literally can drown Like they're just like us in a way that they could drown. Now they're built for it and everything, but like if they don't come back up for air, they will drown. And it got me thinking, and here's the hot take. What is more likely? That whales were created as they are with the ability to perfectly survive in the ocean, go up for air, knowing to do it, the whole thing, and be what they are now, or they evolved and somehow or another didn't all die from drowning. Something to think about. All right. I had my MRA. I had my MRA last week. I'm still waiting on the results. I did do a blood test this week. And for that, I looked at the results. Everything looks great. I basically have perfect blood work, except for a few things. It's the BUN, whatever. It's basically I forget exactly what the indicator is, but based off what I'm looking at, it's just a tiny bit low, and the most common reason for it being low is low protein intake or overhydration or like extra hydration. And I'm very hydrated because I'm drinking all the time. And obviously I have a little bit of a low protein diet, but it's not like way low. It's just like 1 point below but like the range is. So that's to be expected. No indicators of anything else. Like I said, in the past, I've had indicators that I had fatty liver disease, and I don't have that. So everything looks good. I have another blood test out specifically looking for cancer. I would imagine that's going to take a little bit because I have to send it out to another lab. And I have a meeting with my oncologist next week. So in next week's video, I should know everything about the scans and if there's anything planned and like when my next set of scans will be. But at least for now, the blood test looks great. All right. Well, that is it for this week. Thank you for watching. God bless.